وكفاك الله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الحمد لله أحمده واستعينه واستهديه واستغفره وأؤمن به جل وعلا ولا أكفره وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent Him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. And this way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوثق الأمور كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير سنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله وأحسن القصص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوزموها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت قتل الشهداء وأما الأمر دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفع وخير الهادي ما اتباع وشر الأمة أما الكلب. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said the most truthful of discourses is the book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the communities is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. Worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts are the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmuru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa-ita'i dil-qurba وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنكَرِ وَالْبَغْيِ يَعِظُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and liberality to kith and kin, and He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ Islam. Those whom in Allah's plan He willeth to guide, He opens their breast to Islam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Attaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutuna illa wa antum muslimun. O you who believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We'll read our founding document here. The vanguard of Islam, the first of those who forsook their homes, and those who gave them aid, and also those who follow them in good deeds. Well pleased is Allah with them, as they are with Him. For them hath He prepared gardens under which rivers flow, to dwell therein forever. That is the supreme felicity. Of course, this is Surah Tawbah. As-Sabiqun al-awwalun من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه وأعد لهم جنات تجري تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا ذَلِّكَ الْفَوْزُ الْعَظِيمُ. Fawzul Azim is supreme achievement. We read that all the time, the vanguard of Islam. And so we're going to try to tell you the real truth today. Of course, we've been trying to do the same thing all the time. But we want to explain where we are in an up-to-date manner, so you will understand where the community is, a little bit about where it's been, and hopefully where it's going. Now, we read this about the vanguard of Islam, you know, As-Sabiqun al-awwalun. We believe we really lived up to that title, because we have anticipated the things that would probably happen to the Ummah, and we've tried to adjust and be prepared for that as a community and hopefully as individuals. But now, the other ayats right after that, people very seldom check out. There's an article from 2006 called As-Sabiqun. It's a long article in As-Sabiqun. It deals with the term As-Sabiqun from Quran, Hadith, and a lot of it from Sayyid Qutb and others. Certain of the desert Arabs round about you are hypocrites, as well as desert Arabs among the Medina folk. They are obstinate in hypocrisy. Thou knowest them not, we know them. Twice shall we punish them, and in addition shall they be sent to a grievous penalty. Others there are who have acknowledged their wrongdoing. They have mixed an act that was good with another that was evil. Perhaps Allah will turn unto them in mercy, for Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. Of their goods take alms, that so thou mightest purify and sanctify them, and pray on their behalf. Verily, thy prayers are a source of security for them, and Allah is one who heareth and knoweth. There's more ayats. We could go all the way up to 106 or more, but we wanted to stop there. So we see that right after talking about As-Sabiqun al-Awwalun, the first rank, people who made hijrah and the people who accepted them in Al-Madinah. They shared their riches and they shared whatever they had. Okay, they made what's called mu'akat. Mu'akat is a pledge of allegiance, of unity to each other. They shared half, the people of Medina shared half of what they had to the people who had to leave all of their property behind. They had to make hijrah, they had to go and hurry. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also telling the people, although you are As-Sabiqun, Al-Awwalun, Al-Awwal, As-Saf al-Awwal is the first rank. That there are other people amongst the believers. It goes right to the point, certain of the desert Arabs round about thee are hypocrites, as well as desert Arabs among the Medina folks. We could just change it to desert or city Negroes. Amongst the cityfied Negroes are hypocrites. And then the Quran says they are obstinate in hypocrisy. These are some tough hypocrites here. They're obstinate in their hypocrisy. They are sure of their hypocrisy. They are deep-seated, developed, excellent hypocrisy. The highest elevation of nifaq. It says at that time to the Prophet, you don't know them, but we know them. They're going to be punished twice. In addition, they shall be sent to a grievous penalty. Now, those people are obstinate. We do what we can. But there's another people. Others there are who have acknowledged their wrongdoings. They have mixed an act that was good with another that was evil. Perhaps Allah will turn unto them in mercy, for Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. Of their goods take alms, so that thou mightest purify themselves. Tazkiyah. So the whole subject today is tazkiyah or zakah. Zakah, you know, zakat means to cleanse, means to purify, it means to give. Also, zakat means that you purify your 100% of your wealth by giving 2.5% of it away. And if you give more of it in infaq and sadaqah, sadaqah also has to do with purification, truthfulizing, making it truthful and cleansing. Of their goods take alms, so that thou mightst purify and sanctify them, and pray on their behalf. Verily thy prayer are a source of security for them, and Allah is one who heareth and knoweth all things. Now we have some options of how to deal with various people. Some are obstinate, some are mixed good with evil. They're not dyed in the wool 100%. Some of them even know that some of what we're doing is a little wrong. So it says, let them get involved, take their charity, distribute their charity, work with them, and pray for them, because your prayer is a source of security for them. That's what Allah is telling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When a wave, no, it says, yeah, when a wave covers them like the canopy of clouds, they call to Allah, offering Him sincere devotion. The our Allah mukhlasina lahudin. We always hear mukhlasina lahudin. Mukhlas from kalasa means purification. It means sanctity. We know Surah Ikhlas, but Ikhlas means purification. And if you know that one surah, it's the same as knowing 1/3 of the Quran. Why? Because knowing Hu Allahu Ahad sanctifies your whole belief. There is no God but Allah. Right? Allahu Samad, eternal, absolute. Lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan. He ain't no sons of gods running around here. It ain't no mixed race, jinn, men, super beings running around. It purifies your faith. Now here's the people that when they're on the ship, and the big waves come, they offer Allah sincere devotion. But when He has delivered them safely to land, there are among them those that halt between right and wrong, but none reject our signs except only a perfidious, ungrateful wretch. Now I'm going to shift to something that we have to explain because of some of the questions that come up and some of the misunderstandings of what we're going through. But there was a time when we had a personal desire of divine intervention. That if this stuff get cleared up and put right, I'm going to do right. Other people do what they want to do. Some people, you can hook them up, fix them up, and they jumping up and down and rolling around on the floor, you know what I mean, with the Holy Ghost. And soon as the trauma is lifted, they on the roll now. Shoot, that was all right. They may pray every now and then or make dua if they need something. But I said they can do what they want. I'm going to do what I feel is correct. I'm going to read a few things because people keep talking about Oakland. And no matter how much I talk about it, they don't understand the depth of what's going on and what's happened already. So I'm going to try to explain why I haven't went back to Oakland. It's been 8 months ago. Because there's an environment in Oakland that exists, everything everything that has happened in Oakland, I could go back 45 or 50 years about what's going on in Oakland. So I'm going to tell you what the government's plans are for some of the people there. And the possible plan that they tried before and it didn't work. So I'm going to take you back to, 45 years ago. Now remember, 45 years ago, I explained to everybody that we had probably over 200 arrests. I think it's more than 200 arrests. And this is the Bales bondsman. Shoot, this 20 or 30 arrests on each page, and this is about 20 pages. 20 times 20, maybe it's 400 arrests in court dates. This is between 1967 and 1971. And when we went into exile, don't worry, everybody knew where we was, because right here it says Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, and down here it has Algeria. So the Bales bondsman, the reason I got this list is this is the Bales bondsman list, and my witness list comes from the custodian of records, criminal courts clerk, Superior Court of Alameda County, Oakland, California. Okay, what I was trying to do was prove a case of entrapment and that the government was the one selling drugs or putting drugs in the black community. That was my whole goal. Because in 1970, I had retired from so-called dealing drugs. Now, I was dealing benign dope, smoke and cocaine. That's what I dealt mostly. I do admit there was a little crank in there, and maybe even a lot of crank, which is probably one of the deadliest. Crystal meth is so deadly, look at here. Crystal meth is so deadly that you think it whooped Negroes. Look, but if you knew what is already done to white folks, you would actually feel sorry for white folks. Crystal meth, water, crank, good God Almighty. Okay, so I'm going to go through a little facts. All these arrests, day in and day out, I say in 1970, I'm rich, I'm black, I'm 25 years old, I got 3 or 4 businesses, record shops here, this going on, I quit. So the government wants to entrap you. I'm going to speed up because if I just tell the story the way it is, it'll take 100 years. So anyway, they don't want you to quit in head of the game. They don't want you to quit in head of the game. That's the way it is. Now, this 200 arrests had made us the most famous people in the region. First of all, in East Oakland, we are already well known. But when you get arrested this much, you go in jail and you come out and you don't go crazy and you ain't broke, people start betting on you. They say, man, the brother can't take no more, much of that. After about a year, say, can't hold much longer. They be taking bets. Some people say, that's Big Hank can take it. And they bet, of course they win. Finally, you say the government is stupid. You retire and they just still don't want to, Now, I'm going to tell you there's 3 movies came out on this subject, so you'll know. Number 1 was Superfly. Of course, Superfly took place in New York, but what was the basic about Superfly? Number 1, Superfly changed the people from rebellion. It took revolution out of the people and changed them into dope dealers just like that. I mean, it was quick. But it was at a particular time. Superfly worked. But what was Superfly? Superfly was a guy that got into drug dealing because that's the environment he was in. And he didn't know nothing else. But after a while, he got him a little stash of money and he was ready to quit. But the government didn't want him to quit, right? So he arranged some things, if y'all remember the movie, and he set up the mayor, chief of police, all them people. He had stuff on him. So he gets away. And he goes to Europe, and then he gets hooked up with the African Liberation Movement. And the African Liberation, that's Superfly number 2 now. That's TNT. Now I'm skipping to Superfly number 2 when he gets away. Now he leaves with supposedly about $150,000. Now, people in Oakland know of a Negro that got away with exactly that amount of money. $150,000 today don't sound like much. But in those days, that was like $1.5 million. It was a little money, cash money now. He got involved with the African Liberation Movement. And in that movie, they showed pictures of Africans. It had to be at Eid and scenes like that, right? Now, for y'all on the East Coast, they had seen Sunni Muslims before. But when you get past anywhere else going west, they ain't seen no Sunni Muslims. They think only the Nation of Islam, mukmuks, bow ties, you know, stuff like that. So they made a mistake with Superfly TNT. And then Superfly TNT goes through changes, and then what happens? When he gets to helping the people liberate themselves from white folks, this is colonialism time still. He's all beat up, and where does the minister told him, meet me at my house. It's across the street from the Masjid. At the end of the movie, Superfly is all beat up, but what calls him to the guy's house? He hear the adhan. Okay. Here's what had happened. The white folks did Superfly number 1 and worked like a charm. What they was trying to do, they did. They was basing this Garden Parks, as a white man told me 4 years ago at the World Hollywoodism Conference. He told me that Garden Parks was a CIA agent, and he was telling me because that's what he was supposed to come and tell me. Because Garden Parks had no history to be able to write a movie script like that. But anyway, so it was given to him by the government. Now, they messed up. Their goal was to turn everybody to dope dealers, turn everybody away from the revolution. Superfly number 1 did it. They wanted to finish it off with Superfly number 2. They went everywhere. They know where everybody is. Dar es Salaam, Algeria, they know. This is a Bailsman report. Everybody knows. Everybody in Oakland is talking about it too. Some kind of way, that is the news for quite a while. First of all, while we're there, then it's the news after we leave. It's like people are living their life through that soap opera. Do you see what I mean? For them, for the people that know what's going on, that's they living their life through there. That's like people live their lives through soap operas and everything. Oh, my program will be on. And they don't miss their program. And they know everybody in there, all their lives. Ooh, did you see so-and-so? Well, you know, one of them is gay, and they're going to get married. They ain't talking to them like they're real people. Right? Do they still do that? Like that, those are real, and people, in many cases, live their lives through others. It's exciting, it's interesting. This is the most interesting thing going on. They made a mistake with Superfly TNT because they introduced Islam to the people. Because remember, they think of the scenes. They see a black person leaving the West and going, and and you see people living in an African environment. And you know, in those days, that's something. All black people running their own affairs. The police is black, the mayor is black, the chief is black, everybody's black. And it looks healthy. They made a mistake. They had to come and try to clean it up. How do they clean that up? They clean it up with the Mac. The Mac. The Mac is made in Oakland. And all my home folks is in there. Everybody. Billy Bonds, them, Don Ward, them, the Ward brothers. Everybody except the star is from Oakland. And it's made in Oakland. What are they doing? They got my homeboys, big preachers now, Roosevelt now. They're all in the movie. What are they doing? The people are living their lives through these trips around Africa and the world and later on South America. They want to give the Negro in Oakland something else to talk about because they done made a mistake with number 2, so they want to change it with number 3. And they did in a way. They got everybody talking about all the hustlers and the Ward brothers and all the pimps and everything in Oakland. It did take the discussion away from revolution and challenging the system. In the meantime, if you see this right here, it says 1973. Now I'm going to get to what I'm talking about. They have a situation in Oakland now, and they're trying to repeat the same thing now that they did then, and we're not going for it. Entrapment and what have you is when you you're not doing anything and somebody come and offer you something and just almost press you to do it, and you do it, that you are entrapped. In those days, the rule of entrapment was much lower than it is now. I mean, much higher than it is now. If you mention terrorism to somebody and they say, terrorism, that's good, bam, you're off to the penitentiary. Yeah, you know. They go get the people for the last 25 years and bring them to the house and give them the stick, like the FBI did, right? To stir the bomb-making stuff, then they arrest them. Right? You couldn't do that in those days. You had a higher bar. I'm going to read you, this is a letter from Soledad, and as I read through it, you'll understand what I'm going to be leading to. I'm in the LA County Jail, and I'm getting ready, I done turned myself in, I'm getting ready to fight the case. I done proved to myself and collected all the information and the witness list to prove that several years ago the United States government set me up, and the United States government selling drugs in the black community killed the black community. This is a white boy. Long time no see. How the hell are you? I thought you were still out tripping around. When I raised from Lompoc, I went by your mom's house. So you know this is a white boy. You know him. We go by your mother's house. You know what I mean? You got to be all right friends. Talk to your cousin or someone. He said you were around but wouldn't say where. They is a white boy, so they don't know him. I know him. I don't know, maybe he's around somewhere. I don't know nothing about it, you know. Anyway, so I gave up looking after rumors that you had been busted and split. When I got out of Lompoc, I never went back to Marion. This is the crux of the case. Brandy, Hank's daughter. The snitch, Henry Whitman, that entrapped me, has a daughter named Mary. Right? This is what he's writing about. And the white boy that go with Mary, they have a child together, knows that his stepfather is a government agent. While I retired in 1970, my homeboy, Doc, is in Lompoc. The white boy happens to be over in Lompoc inside. My partner's in Lompoc Camp. So my homeboy calls me and says, man, Gary is trying to climb the fence to tell me something. He's trying to tell my friend to watch out for his stepdad. Because his stepdad, he gets a visit from his wife, the daughter of the snitch, and she says, well, Hank was by the other day and he's been hanging out with Dad a lot. Oh my goodness. So the white boy panicked and he's trying to get me the message that his stepdad is a federal agent. Anyway, and I'm going to try to skip some of this, Hank's daughter, but stayed in contact with her to see my daughter. That's how I came to know Hank Whitman died in Mexico. Not sure about the prison part. I'm going to skip a lot about this in our autopsy. When I got all my stuff together, and all my witness lists and all of my stuff to prove that the government was who they was, Hank Whitman pops up so-called dead in Mexico. And the police say to me, the feds, well, you keep this talk up about weed dealing dope and all of that stuff that you got, right? Then, you know, you was in Mexico. Remember, even the bail bondsman knew it. It's got Algeria on there. It's got Dawson. Everybody knew where I was. Somebody, in fact, to tell you the truth, I don't want to change the subject. The federal marshal, it was a big case in Arizona. They brought me out of a penitentiary to go testify, and I blew their case for them, messed it up. But everybody, I knew it was some kind of special case because the head marshal from San Francisco, he was shaking my hand. Oh, you know, I had your case when you was way back when you was in this place and that place. He was telling me exactly where I was, overseas. How you know everywhere I was? But anyway, so here's the case. They're threatening me with, well, if you keep talking about this, we'll just give you a murder beef. And after you finish up all of this stuff here, we'll send you back down to Mexico, because that's what the so-called, they can arrange a murder with no body or nothing, right? So who cares whether you get convicted or not? Who wants to stay in jail in Mexico with the, now, if you a real criminal and you can buy everybody, which you can, it's fun being in jail in Mexico, and you can live like a king. But if you there and everybody is told to make life as miserable as you can for the brother, you are in trouble. This is what they're saying. Now, in this, there's a lot of stuff going on. When I moved in, when the Birch brother takes a trip south, he's telling me, although he was around because before Mary remarried, she lived with my crime partner, Stumpy. Remember, Don Short, built like a brick wall. When he moved in with Mary, Don and Hank were known to take trips south. So Don's back in the joint behind some trip with Hank. That's the last time he heard it. So this federal agent is putting everybody in the penitentiary, not just trying to put me away. And he's talking about one of his partners that got hooked up with his ex-girlfriend or his ex-wife, Mary. Seemed like Mary's a nice lady, boy, but since her daddy was the police, anybody that got hooked up with her was headed to the penitentiary. Good God Almighty. I got the subpoena Wednesday and called your attorney, talk with him about Hank Whitman, my testifying for you. He's going to testify in Emmanuel Real's court in LA that he knows exactly what I'm saying is true. And I got a whole witness list. And then I'll speed up and bring you up to modern times so you know what's going on. But right now I'm fighting my case, but he has not really. But I'm due back in Oakland for 1168 hearing modification sentence. The judge said he would drop this time 2 to 10 for the state if the federal people violated me. They have, and the paperwork should be back and done in the next couple of weeks. I have an attorney that is a PD there. His name is John Hornbeck, talk about LA. The same office where you are. Anyway, my attorney in Berkeley doesn't want me to be taken down there to LA because it might interfere with my cases in Oakland. Jim Newhouse is the name. Cooper, Newhouse, Hertz, Reagan made Stanley Gold a judge. These are all people we know. What I'm trying to do is get back to Lompoc for the 23 months instead of doing it here at Soliday, a state prison. Some news. Newborn ran out of bed. Okay, now let's get to the part that that he's trying to explain his predicament. Oh, my new old lady, Carol, got busted at LA International in March with a pound of blow, pure blow, flying in from South America. The Fed PD, Hornbeck, beat the case for her. He's the one that will be my attorney. If I'm testifying, so I won't incriminate anyone, including myself, let me know that he's telling me what the situation is. Hey, they told me if you just keep your mouth shut, you don't want to be here in Soledad, fine. We're going to consolidate everything. You can go back to Lompoc Federal Penitentiary, and you'll be out in 2-3 weeks or a month. You see how we do your woman. Have a public defender ever got you off or anybody else off flying in from South America with a pound? In those days, there was a lot of cocaine, a pure cocaine on them, and they throw the case out. Possession is 9 points in the law. She got a ticket. She got everything. She just came from South America, and she go through customs. You don't need no probable cause or nothing, right? And what happened? She goes free. So what he's telling me is, hey man, I told your attorney, the people, about Henry's a police, but if you can, just leave me out of it. I don't want to incriminate nobody, including myself. But he came down to the jail anyway from the pen. He said, if you want me to go on and do it, I'll do it. I mean, you know, we homeboys, but Boy, they sure making it sound good. You know how I am. Man, you gonna get out of the penitentiary, just keep your mouth shut. Ain't no sense you sitting up in the penitentiary for the next, I don't know how, all this time you got a 2 to 10, you got this or that, you got federal time, and you can walk. Hey man, just keep your mouth shut. And I said that for certain reasons. Because the feds had already went and loosened up my case. But I'm not going to go through all this. I have a whole witness list. And people have already given testimony that he had talked the previous January about, that's me, about the dangers of going to Mexico with Henry. But that I had good reason for doing what I was doing, and that if it did not work, I was going to Africa. Also, that I was doing this to get the pressure off my back. Right? That I was tired of all these arrests, 200 arrests, 5, I don't know how many it is, but it's every other day I'm arrested, sometimes twice a day, one time, 3 times a day. I got a whole witness list of what people can testify to. Why I haven't went to Oakland is because right now, Khadijah and Mukhtar calls on the phone and talks crazy. Now, all the stuff that they have done, we have followed the Quran. Pray for them, because you are a source of their security and safety. The government is, of course, taping all of those calls. You can almost hear them breathing. They do it soft. The government is in a dilemma, a big dilemma. And I'll be brief as I tell you about it. The government, the first go around, 45 years ago, we were somewhat inexperienced. We was trying. In those days, we was mixed up with a little dirt here, a little dirt there, right? So your word wasn't that good. This time, none of that's true. This time, we have trapped, we call it the Imam Musa variety show. No, on international media and television, we have trapped the system so tight they can't get out of it. The government agents are self-exposed because that's the way we planned it. Now, when we didn't get our program ran through in 1973, we didn't stop. We didn't stop. It's just like you're in a fight. If you hit a 12-rounder, you say, well, the first round, that's a draw. You know, I go to the penitentiary, not forever, because everybody is basically told, the whole witness list, you're going to testify, homeboy? Oh, my goodness. My God. You must going to work on a job for the rest of your life. I know you ain't going to be selling dope and go testify for homeboy. You're going to be in jail every night. We're going to have you so tight in jail that you will never see no air. As a white man, you say, we're going to lock you so far back in the hole, we're going to pump sunshine to you. That's the way the white man talks. It actually means it, because you be back there in the dark. So here's what happened. This time around, that's what we're going to get into now. And I'll get back to the dialogue. The reason that we're talking about purification and cleansing, because when you have a big fight coming up, you have to prepare for that fight. And in preparing for that fight, the system is going to use everything on you. You're going to use a honey trap, money trap, dope trap, everything. Remember, the system depends on you to cooperate in your own downfall. The system depends on you and human weakness. Right. That's why the shaitan, we'll get to that later, he's even responding to Allah. Well, since you done found me in the wrong, I'm going to wait for all your people, and I'm going to get almost all of them, except the few that purify themselves. Right? And this is true. So, if you got a big fight coming up, you have to train for the fight according to the environment, according to the time, place, and circumstances that you're dealing with. Okay. So I just read when a wave overtakes them, boy, they get to hollering, and then after that, they normal again. Say, my Lord hath commanded justice, and that you set your whole selves to him at every time and place of prayer, and call upon him, making your devotion sincere. Muqlasin Allahuddin. It means sincere, focused, specific devotion. You don't let nothing bring the muqlas from aklas, kalasa. One-minded, single-minded, nothing mixing up and polluting your focus. So if you're going to do this, making your devotion sincere as in his sight, such as he created you in the beginning, so shall you return. Some he hath guided, others have by their choice deserved the loss of their way, in that they took the evil one in preference to Allah for their friends and protectors, and think that they receive guidance. This is the people now. Remember, the Quran is live and living color. What we're living right here in this masjid don't make no difference whether you believe it or not. This is the scene for the West. And it's influenced by the whole rest of the world is in on it. You think, if you see the newspaper down there, that's the front of a newspaper. If you want to hear about Black Lives Matter, you know where you can really go hear about it? You can look on the Rahbar's newsletter. Somebody told me, hey man, out of those interviews you did in Iran a little while ago, the one on Black Lives Matter where you said that this is normal and this has been going on historically, that's on the Rahbar's website. That means the leader, the supreme leader in the Islamic Republic, a Negro, not only is in their main paper on the front page, but is on the Rahbar. That's an honor itself to be on the website. While they're trying to isolate you and cut you off, right? You showing up on all the revolutionary conditional places and events. But these other people, they deserve the loss because they chose the evil one in preference to Allah as friends and protectors, and think they receive guidance. That's the case with Mukhtar and Khadijah now. The reason I don't go back to Oakland is it's just like years ago. They tried that once. See, they can't get the brother for nothing. Clean as a whistle, right? Well, if the whole world knows who Mukhtar is, and you can hear panic in their voice, and the people tell me, all you gotta do is say boo, and both of them will jump out of their skin. Abdul Malik, them talking tough. That ain't true. Them Negroes went on national news and let the world know who we are. Everybody knows it. So, and I told the police, I said, hey man, I said, y'all have jumped on me 4 or 5 times. I said, but now this is the deed to the property of the Masjid. This is the Articles of Incorporation. I don't want nobody in our building. Anybody go in there as trespassing, of course they'd arrest me for trespassing in our own building, but that's all right. And we said it on national TV. But here's how I read the old white man. get rid of Mukhtar, and they got to get rid of Abdul Malik. They got to. Why? Because Mukhtar and Abdul Malik know their whole system of snitches and collaborators. There are two groups of people who are stirred up and upset right now. Number one is the other snitches that they collaborate with, right? If somebody grab them and put a little cigarette light on their finger, they're going to tell everything, isn't that right? They Western. You don't have to hang them up on no rack upside down like they do overseas. The Negro, as comfortable as we've been living, if you blow a hot fan on what you want, boss, I'll tell you. Yeah, of course. The snitches are worried, and the police themselves are worried. And everybody knows the system. When the police can't use you no more, what's happening? That's it, isn't that right? They put you in the penitentiary on the main line, not in even protective custody. The people you done snitched on, they don't want to take care of you. They're talking about, oh, we're going to put you in the witness protectors program. I bet you half of the people in the witness protectors program get killed within 6 months. You know why? The government ain't going to feed them people, spend no $2-3 million on them bums, right? So they put you in the witness program, give you all IDs and everything, get you a job at McDonald's, and then they call the mafia or whoever you snitched on, right? You said so-and-so got a facial, they send your picture and everything to them and said, this is where he lived. Don't nobody know that Corleone or whoever he is and got killed, they didn't change his name. So the newspapers say, Mr. Smith got hit by a train or something, right? Or fell off a horse and broke his neck, right? But he's an FBI snitch. You think they're going to pay $4 or $5 million to keep you and don't have no family? You think your family want to stay locked up with you? They got all their friends and everybody. I'm not staying up here in Idaho. What are you talking about? All your kids, they from D.C., Chicago, and everywhere. They're not going to stay up in Idaho, up there with all them cows and caribou and mooses and, right? Long, big deer with antlers. They say, man, they want to get back to town. Isn't that right? This is what's happening in Oakland. This is why we haven't went back. Because, see, we have 50 years of history, our own personal history. And we are still on our own case. Okay, I'll just be a little brief now. Iblis said, O my Lord, because thou hast put me in the wrong, I will make wrong fair seeming to them on earth, and I will put them all in the wrong, except thy servants among them sincere and purified. That is Muklasin again. Allah said, this way of my sincere servant is indeed a way that leads straight to me. For over my servants no authority shalt thou have except such as put themselves in wrong and follow you. This is the beauty about the Quran. It doesn't make a difference about who is against you. Remember the shaitan, there's two parties in the world. Hizbullah and Hizbul Shaitan. Isn't that right? That's two parties in the world. That's two groups of people. You're either part of Hizbul Shaitan, the party of Satan, or Hizbullah, the party of God. And then there's a lot of us waving back and forth. But those most devoted to Allah shall be removed far from it. Those who spend their wealth for increase in self-purification, and have in their minds no favor from anyone for which a reward is expected in return, but only the desire to seek for the countenance of the Lord Most High. I want to read something here. The Arabic word zakah implies both increase in purification, and both meanings may be understood to be implied here. Wealth, understood both literally and metaphorically, is not for selfish enjoyment or idle show. It is held on trust. It may be a trial in itself, from which a man who emerges successfully is a man all the purer in his life. And even if he was a good man before, his proper use of his wealth increases his position and dignity in the moral and spiritual world. Even if the guy was halfway all right, if he uses the wealth correctly, it increases and it improves. Okay. The definition of righteous charity or self-sacrifice becomes thus highly spiritualized. It is so completely identified with Allah's will that everything else is blotted out to them. What would seem to be sacrifice from other points of view becomes their own highest pleasure and satisfaction. If you got arrested, if you got hassled as much as I do with the feds and the state police, everybody, you would think that's terrible. Somebody was watching on the video and they saw what was going on. Oh, they said, man, that is terrible. That's horrible. You all by yourself out there. I said, that's what we plan for. That's what we do. That's the trick. And still people look at it through their eyes. We've been trying to get people stop looking at As-Sabiqun through your eyes. Look at it through our eyes. You can't get it if you look at it like, man, if that happened to me, everybody feels, nobody goes out in the morning hoping to have a confrontation with the FBI or the CIA. Nobody. In fact, the average human being spends, and especially if you're in crime, you want to avoid any contact or confrontation with the police, right? So it's been inbred into us to have as less contact with the system on that level as possible. You have to train yourself to engage yourself to have as much contact as possible. You have to make yourself do it. You have to train yourself to do it. So that when people look at you, they think, man, that's terrible. And you say, man, this is sweet. This is what we're working on. What are you talking about? All our meetings, we talk about it, right? We plan it, organize it. This is planned, organized. We called it, years ago, design, fitna. Right? That's what we call it. This is the thing that we're trying to educate people on. Look at things the way we look at it, not you. If you look at it through your own eyes, you will miss the whole point. That's why it looked like we're going to have to spend 2 or 3 years on explaining over and over again what we've already done. We're going to pick it up again. Okay. Every virtuous man will have his own bliss, for there are degrees in virtue and bliss. This supreme bliss is the portion, not a prize, of supreme virtue. Each person have their own specific bliss. Happiness level. What's happiness to you? Avoiding conflict, wanting to live a peaceful life. Okay? If you know the rules of challenging and fighting systems, you know the rule. You don't get that. So if you are wise enough, you don't even want that. You train yourself, I don't want peace, tranquility, and that stuff that everybody else wants. I don't want it. But what Allah gives you, He turns conflict, challenge, and fitna into your bliss. That's your bliss. It ain't other people's bliss. They don't want that. They'll go crazy. Because that's not what they set up for in life. Nor can the bearer of a burden bear another's burden. If one heavily laden should call another to bear his load, not the least portion of it can be carried by other, even though he be nearly related. Thou canst but admonish such as fear their Lord unseen, establish regular prayer, and whoever purifies himself does so for the benefit of his own soul. And the destination is Allah. Okay, so basically that's what we've been talking about. We'll mention a few things in close. Personally, the world that I dream about and visualize exists inside of me. Like in the old days, it was Cadillacs, Benzes. I'm always showing you pictures of some Cadillacs. Should have had plenty more. There's one you never seen before. That's a sharp boy there. See the grill and everything. It's got a big tire on the back. You can't see it. Convertible. That's a big hat and everything. You see where everything is color coordinated. Niggas dress now uncoordinated and uncolor coordinated. This is what they put you in jail. If the nigga saw you come in the club and you had on stuff that didn't match, he said, come on. The bouncer would ask you, brother, you can't come in here like that. All that stuff don't match. You look like you just came from Mississippi or somewhere, which a few people did. Okay. You know, this hat, the reason I like this hat is because I was driving down the street in a limousine. My partner was driving, and it was on 92nd Avenue, East 14th. And a Negro was drunk, and the police was abusing him. So I told the brother to stop. He didn't want to stop because he didn't want confrontation with the police. He's part of our day, but he don't want. So I got out and I was telling people, look what the police is doing to the brother. We all can't put up with that. So the police turned on me. And before long, they done called the whole police department and they done took my hat off and jumping up and down on the hat, because they'd be mad or rich. Negro in those days, good. They were jumping up and down. You can't hurt no weak hat, but they was jumping up and down. Spraying mace all, you know, you just stay handcuffed, but they punching. In those days, they really, you just in the street, and they wasn't hiding punches, they just punch you. And I said, man, y'all are punks, that's all you can do. So anyway, after we go into jail, the Negro that was drunk, he looked at me. He said, what the hell are you doing here? He didn't even know that I got out of it. And that helped me, that you do things for the right reasons. Don't worry about what other people. The Negro looked at me, what the hell are you doing in here? I could have told him, well, I was trying to look out for you. The other thing is about Negroes. See, the system will always try to get you to fight other Negroes. Don't they always do that? They did it with the Panthers, they did it with us, they did it with everybody. They do it with Mexican gangs, Sinaloa cartel, Zetas. You notice when anybody get up real big, all of a sudden another cartel is fighting. Why? Because they got people in both cartels starting fitting with the other. When they pull the thing, bam. That's why all the weapons goes down to Mexico. The FBI sent all the weapons that were ATF. They traced the weapons to these big fights everywhere. It don't make no difference. Divide, conquer, and rule. Whether you're black nationalist, it don't make no difference who you are, right? That's why, remember the Negroes years ago was acting up on the hill? And a lot of us had a little confrontation with them. And I said, no, we're not going to fight them Negroes. It wasn't out of fear, but when the PG police, that happened to be the same year that the PG police had killed 4 Negroes. Y'all heard that? They got a lot of Negroes over, 2,000 something. So the police, PG police is right there, 295, between Nanny Helen Burroughs and Benning Road, right off to, you know, it's a side road right around. You can see it from the freeway. So the police is beating this guy to death. they got him in the front seat with his part of his torso hanging out the front window. 2 police is holding him and beating him. The other 3rd PG police got his feet at the passenger side, holding the poor guy's feet. And he had straight hair, light skin. I thought maybe he's Italian or something, but they was beating him. So I pulled over and I told them, stop hitting that man. They couldn't even hear. You know, when they're in the zone, hey man, they just beating. People driving by on the highway looking at them, they ain't paying no attention. They just beating the guy. So I grabs the police. Everybody knows I just grabbed both of them. You know, I was working out then every day. I work out now, but I was younger then. The police, they were shocked. They actually froze for, what is this a nigga? Got his hand on the police. And we got guns and we beating somebody else. What is wrong with this man? Then they flash. So they throw down their stuff, they put their gun in front of their face. Get out! I said, I ain't doing nothing. Anyway, you can hear the guns clicking. And then the people driving on 95, 295. The traffic is backed up and everybody's looking over there. And one lady, you can tell she's probably a nice government worker. They're gonna shoot that man. So they couldn't shoot the brother out. That's out there, 200 people looking at it. Everybody, the freeway is stopped, both ways, they looking at it. We did that because the way it's arranged. It's arranged for niggas to fight other niggas. That's why we do not fight niggas. We keep our mind focused on the Zionists and white folks. We have never fought no Negroes. Why? Because the Negro is not the enemy. The Negro used pawns and $2 niggas to try to divert you, right? By fighting them, right? This is insanity. We've learned this throughout history. So we'll speed up a little bit. So we're the most respected Negro movement in the United States. Not the most popular, you see how many people here, but the most respected. No trap, no money trap, no honey trap, no drug trap, no secret desire trap. You know, where they study you psychologically and what is your fantasy desire? Now you gotta remember, most people is human beings. You're gonna get them with one thing or another. If you can't get them with money, you're gonna get them with a tender. You don't usually have to go no farther than that. Between money and tenders, well, you just bring a couple cutie pies. That will solve 96% of the problem, right? That's just true. Then if he's just moral, put some money in there, that'll finish him off. The Negro can't stand no 4, 5, 6 traps. Not historical. So our money is for the movement. People get out of prison. People still in exile. Money for the masses. Right now, when a brother come out of the pen, the big talking Negro Muslims don't have no money for them. Especially the brothers from the movement days. They don't have no money for them. We don't have no access to money, but we try to look out for our brothers. Okay. I don't fight the oppressed. Again, we avoid the Negro. The number one lesson, stay focused on the white man, on Zionism, on the shaitan. The other attitude, change every attack to a benefit or an opportunity. No matter what anybody do to you, you're going to change it to some benefit. Everyone self-exposed, ineffective, and stupid. History demands everyone who came to Oakland, why are you there? What contribution do you make to Islamic movement? Like during this revival period? Why is Zaid Shaka there? Why are you there? You helping the movement? Did you come there to help Hamza Youssef? He controlled all the Sufis and you control all the Negroes. Is this why you're here? You got to be here for something because you ain't doing nothing with the movement. Why you give refuge? The Negroes can do anything they want at our Masjid, then they can come over to your Masjid, which used to be the headquarters of the Uncle Tom people a long time ago. Probably don't know Oakland history, so he don't know. It used to be the head of, I'm not going to get into names, but handkerchief-headed black nationalists, government black nationalists. Now it's the Masjid in Oakland. Where's our school equipment out there? Where are the tools, drills, saws, painters, all of that? You know, where's all of that stuff? This is never reported to have happened in history. Public display, individual audacity for a government. Think about it, go back in history. Has there ever been any long-lasting public display of challenging openly, face-to-face, the United States government? Has there? It hasn't been. They didn't allow it. Then how do we do it? How you can call the government punks and sissies and go down and make fun of them? Huh? You know what happens? In the old days, the government created Robin Hood life. If you get arrested every day almost, people start pulling for you. And every day you survive, your stature grows and grows and grows. Right? What about us here today? Stopped on planes, can't come back in the country from South Africa. Messed up in Brussels, Belgium, going to Switzerland to the Human Rights Commission, something or other, Islamic Human Rights Commission. Turned around in London, you can't transit through here. You know, which is legal. All of that type of thing, every time there's any confrontation, driving down the highway through Oklahoma. In fact, it's right across from El Reno. I'm looking over, I say, how's El Reno over there? You know where you're on the yard in El Reno, you can look over and see the highway? I'm telling you. So the police pulled me over, whole crew of them. I didn't even know that they was a narcotics bureau until I looked on the ticket they gave me, which I threw out. So, we have to search your vehicle. So you can't search my vehicle. You ain't got no right to search my vehicle. And I want to pat you down. I said, you can't pat me down. It's for my safety. I said, my rights are more important than your safety. I don't know what you're talking about. Now this is Okies, Oklahoma. They born and bred on dreaming of shooting niggas. That's what they like that. They don't have to work themselves up. Oh, I just have to shoot this nigga. Oh, this is an opportunity. What did you say? I said, I told you, you don't have no right to do nothing. They bring the dogs up, and the dog smelling the van and then runs back. He said the dog smelled something, so we got to search the van. I said, you know, not that I know anything about dope, but I said dogs, dope dogs, if they smell some dope, they start barking and they circle around the dope. There's the dope. That's what the dogs do. This dog smelled my van and ran back like I put something in it to make him run away or something. Well, we got to search it anyway. So they tumble everything up. But most people don't like that. We thrive on it. It keeps you focused on what your job is. How is this happening? How did it happen? Okay. They want to break us, take our money. Now, you know, they ain't never, no movement have the government ever took a bank account, changed the name to the people that's causing that's insanity, and put your money, our money from D.C., and give it to Mukhtar. They did that. Now, we're going to sue them for $10 million or more. We'll sue them on what we want because it's illegal. I got all the paper. You can't do that. You just can't do it. But they did it anyway. They were sure this will get the Negro to fight and kill that nigga. Because you sit there, man, this nigga got no money. It ain't him. He ain't even spending the money. The government just took it out and made it look like they're giving it to him. But they ain't going to give it to him, else he'd have a new car, a nigga have a red hat or something, right, if he got that money. What was the purpose? The purpose, that part of the money was saved to do the attack that we're doing now, counteroffensive. 2016. Well, guess what? The Quran also says, go forward, whether equipped lightly or heavily, and strive and struggle in the way of Allah with your goods and your property. Okay? I've always been a money man. It don't matter whether you believe it or not. We got to have something to know about money. We don't get no money, but everything is always done everywhere. We got 8 pieces of property here. We pay taxes on all the property, the highest taxes. And you know ain't no money coming in, so you got to be a money manager. We got the same amount of property in California, all paid for and everything. You have to, other Negroes don't own nothing, right? Okay, now, that means we got to know what we're doing. Here's what Allah, I believe, wanted us. We've always depended on the ability to manage, hide, and save money. But they worked for several years stealing money here, money there. And finally they said that last place he got money, we knocked him over, would be the bank accounts. They were close to right, but you know what? Did we get mad or upset about it? No. We said and we did this, that Allah wants you to outgrow, to put your trust in Allah more than in your management skills and money. So we attacked, or our counteroffensive started right after they done took our money. Technically, we were flat broke. Not flat broke. You know, like people are broke and they don't have no money. We ain't never been like that. But compared to what we had that money there to challenge the system, to hire people to do this, to do that, our whole thing. We already know what we need to do. So what did we do? Gave us 2 weeks to get a little breather, and we launched our counteroffensive. Because the Quran says, go forward whether equipped lightly or heavily. So we were equipped lightly. This builds up your courage, your backbone. You see, Allah allows stuff to happen for your benefit. And then, to make them mad, you know why all those cars out there? And I ain't spent no time trying to sell them. Not one. You ain't found me going around. I ain't even put no advertisement in yet. Why? Because if you tell somebody, hey, Khadijah calls me, well, you're broke and we stole your money. I said, well, just drive by the Masjid. Look at all them cars out there paid for cash. Right? That makes them mad. You talking about burning up. Because see, people believe in material. They believe it. So you just park the stuff there. That proves that you ain't nothing but a punk. You done used, it's not gangster days, we're clean as a whistle. We live according to Islam. You can't set us up. We ain't letting you set us up. And anything you do, we're gonna make the whole world and saw it. So what are we now? We are heroes. When we go places, I was just down there in Dallas the other day. You know, Dallas has its own, now we done said stuff to people in Dallas. We've had many programs in Dallas. So when we run to them, what we think about is happening in Dallas, people open their mouth. The nigga is right. Did you hear that? Because they think about Dallas. They don't think about the whole spectrum. You see what I mean? I'm telling you, we have more respect than any group or amount of people. If they have hundreds of thousands of people and multi-million-dollar staff, because they are not doing the right and they are not doing the correct thing. So when you find out what your mission is in life, you do your mission, not because of any other thing, because you believe that's what Allah wanted you to do, and Allah will raise all of the burdens off of you till everything will be fun. That's why we call it the Musa show. That's what it is. Just putting cars out is a public humiliation to them. Well, y'all took all our money out of our account and cut off all access to money. We can't make no fundraiser in nobody's masjid. And here we are rolling like a big wheel in a Georgia cotton field. Honey hush. See what I mean? That's humiliating to them. That's Allah's work. That's sticking your foot sideways in their behind. When this is all finished, they're going to be in recruited Negroes. They're going to say, we thought them niggas was dumb, but them niggas is smart. They're strategically brilliant. That's what's happening to them. What I'm telling you, what's happening to them is strategically brilliant and it's fun. So you remember, they made heroes in the 60s that they didn't know what they was doing. Arrest after arrest, fitna after fitna, right? What about all the fitna here? It has no effect. One of the big time guys here prays out in the street a lot. He went over to Iran and he told brother called me, he said, so-and-so's over here telling people that all the pressure over there is getting to you. So when I was over in one of the holy cities not that long ago, they said, well, Imam Musa, we want to keep you here, and you can study in Qum, and we're going to get you married and everything, and hook you up. I said, I'm sorry. I said, I got a fight going on back in the I said, I got a fight going on. I couldn't sit over here. It took 45 years to get this stuff hooked up. And I liked fighting the white man. And he done did everything in the open and he can't hardly kill you. Boy, just think you done trapped the white man where he can't do nothing to you except try to get you to fight other niggas and you refuse to fight other niggas. Oh, they were sure that was going to work. So that's a psychological counteroffensive. I'm moving toward a close here, dear brothers and sisters. So we're clean. Another thing about Oakland is very open here too. You know, the Negroes act like Negroes. And they act like Negroes, family and everybody. What's happened? Family-wise. You know, Mellow Yellow, he got a yellow wife too, and the yellow wife girls like dark niggas a lot. I think it's fine. I don't know what the chemistry is, but you see it all the time. Something's going on. So the sisters see and know what's going on. So if Abdul Malik over 10 years ago said, yeah, I'm going to get me another wife, and I tell him, man, give your original wife, give Jamila a break, man. Give her a couple of years relief where she ain't got to, you know what I mean, worry or panic about, you know, you ain't going to do nothing to nobody, no way. Just give her a little breather. You know, somebody that's been with you all them years, do all that dumb stuff they do. Okay, then the wives be knowing that stuff. In other words, and the wives know something too. The wives are what we would call, when they came on board, they was in their early 30s, and I was like 45 or 50. So to me, they was all tenders. And they be blinking all the time. You just keep your head down. They used to have a saying about Imam Musa. They say, Imam Musa know you by your feet, because he was never looking at the ladies in them. Everybody was young, and they that Berkeley crowd, they tenders. They all tenders, all of them. So, but all of this fitna, and the sisters see it, and they see you hold, buckle down, and don't break. What's an African-American sister or any woman going to do? They're going to say, that's the kind of nigga I will try with. They stay with their husband. It's a little meaty mouth nigga here. He had all them snitches, and they couldn't take down. The more they do it, the more prestige they lose. And then these coons use their family and everybody, so their whole family know that they coons. And they say, wait a minute. Because see, when they're at their high point, they try to brag, yeah, we're going to bring down big boy. You know, like police do on the TV. We're going to bring you down, Mr. Big. We're going to do this. Da, 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 da. Well, that's the way they was doing with their family with me. We're going to bring down Big Hank. We're going to bring down Imam Musa. They ain't even scratch. Imam Musa ain't got a scratch. And I went, when I was in Iran, I told her, I said, man, they better get my cookbahs from D.C., because I ain't doing nothing but telling jokes in the cookbah. You know what I mean? They was trying to snitch here. You know your friend, y'all's friend, was saying, from his view, with all of that trouble, it's beginning to get to Imam Musa, and the people will believe that. Unless you guys say, oh, no. Ain't nothing happening like that. So they're trying to use everything that they can. I'm telling you, the reason I'm telling you is what I wrote down here. Just like we used to buy Cadillacs for people, and we wanted to share that with people because everybody thought Cadillacs was heaven. This stuff that we're living now is heaven. And we want to share that with you. But each person has their own bliss. Just like each person have to figure out their own challenge. And guess what? The Quran is clear. You're not going to get that. Can't nobody buy that for you. Every tub have to stand on its own bottom. Everybody have to carry their own load. Brothers and sisters, the Quran is a living, real document. If you execute a portion of it in your life, you get the whole package. I'm telling you, human bliss in this world. They call it nirvana, all of that stuff, where you just juiced up and can't nobody do nothing to you. It really exists, but you have to take the risk. You have to take the chance. And you can't do it, look, you can't find freedom on the plantation, can you? Tell the truth. You can't be on the plantation. You got, even if you're hungry, if you get off the plantation, you're free. Freedom costs. Freedom, you got to think. If you own your own business, you think somebody at work in a big office downtown, government office, and somebody that run a medium, small business are the same? Absolutely not. The person that runs his own business is sharp, can think, can plan and organize. And a person that's a colonel in the army or a general or something, they used to using machinery. Like the average criminal is 10 times smart as a dumb police. The dumb police just have all the access to everything. But a mediocre criminal is sharper than any police. He just let his nafs catch up with him. Eventually he cooperate with his own downfall. I'm going to finish in a minute. So, them people and Negroes want to keep their women, they better watch out. Because the longer we survive, you can see it every time you see them. Sisters had it look like that. Yes, it's all right, I understand. I wouldn't want to be with that punk neither. I wouldn't want to be with the punk neither. You just have to live with it. That's your fault. That's too bad. I mean, you don't make fun of nobody, but you made your choice. That's the way it goes. All of them feel that way. Because whoever usually gets the most points, run the fastest, fights the hardest, that's who the ladies want to be with. Isn't that the general rule? That's the general rule, right? So if you got a house full of punks and police, you got a nigga that's just slapped them all around and not even tired, never just uses his left hand, never uses his right hand, and don't hardly even look up, just know where they are and slap. Bah! Why? Because of history. Slapping them down, just having a good time with them. Their family is going to lose respect for them. The society loses respect for them. Especially when a little bit of black history creeps back in. Oh, my husband was like, oh, they watching a movie. You know, here's the thing to kind of give you an idea how close. If you're watching a movie and you see yourself in the movie and everybody hates you, like if you're the tattletale in the movie, right? In other words, if you can't tell your story, what's going on in private, in public, something's wrong. Isn't that right? If you can't tell your story publicly, what's going on in private, something's wrong with your life, dear believers. And that's the last thing I want to say. What we showing the people, we've already shown strategic management under conditions of repression. That starts from about 1985 up to around 2007. Strategic management under conditions of repression shows people how to manage, evolve, and develop under 24-hour, 7-day-a-week surveillance. That's what we've already done that. That's passed. Now, we're showing the people what you can do under modern, up-to-date technology where the drones and the snitches and everything know everything about you, what you ate for breakfast, who you go to see, all of it. Because that's the way life is now, right? So we're showing the people right now how you can defeat the system that has all of that knowledge. It's because of faith, it is because of Mukhlasin Allahudeen. Sincerity in the deen. Purity in the deen. See, if you purified in the deen, it calls it sanctified, they can't do nothing to you. They can't threaten you because you're down with the deen. You believe in martyr. They can't trick you because if you ain't married, I don't want no cutie pies. Because I ain't married to them. You don't want them because you ain't married to them, right? You don't have no secret fantasies. Here come them fools in Oakland. percent of the sisters, what is your fantasy? So I don't have no damn fantasy. You know? So it must be modern stuff when niggas have fantasies. They just fantasize. I say, if you stand a vagina in the face, you ought to figure out what you gotta do. Excuse the language. Right? You have to fantasize, there's one. Now let's figure out what we're gonna do with it, right? A fantasy, what's wrong with this? Niggas, it's fantasies. Black white folks, they floating around in fantasy. Whipped cream and all. I see people is crazy. Y'all is stupid. Nobody doing all that dumb stuff but in them white folks' books. Niggas done went crazy. Talking about fantasy. I said, niggas in my time don't have none of that stuff. We deal with, there's one, let's get busy. Let's figure out exactly, you gotta come up with a plan, and you got a plan for everything else, right? You gotta have a plan. Nigga can't stand there, let me have a fantasy. No. Better figure out what to do. You just gotta think, isn't that right? These niggas is crazy. This whole thing, I'ma close finally, is hilarious. The snitches, the police, the government is crackpots, man. And then they're trying to do something to somebody who was seen allowed them. So anyway, dear believers, we said we would try to slow down. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go on and close. Sad as we are. It's only a 2-hour book, but you know, you got away easy this time. Could have been 3 hours. In closing, one of the Arab brothers came here for Juma. He got smart. He got on out of here. Because I was going to tell him, brother, if you come in here for a 30-minute khutbah, you better just do your dhuhr prayer and get on out of here. So we don't do that here. We don't have those. Brothers and sisters, thank you very much. In closing, Islam is real. Don't worry about being in a big number with everybody. Learn how to, if you have to be by yourself, be by yourself. Prophet Noah was with Negroes for 950 years. Let's assume he started preaching when he was 50. Or 40. That's 910 years of being with niggas, whatever it was in that area. But they was niggas in attitude, right? I ain't gonna do nothing. I don't like that. Well, you know, here come a lot of water. I don't believe it. Well, son, you know, this water now, it ain't nothing left but 1 or 2 little mountains. I don't believe it. I'm gonna catch me the last one over mountain. Let me get over there. Right? Niggas. 950 years, and he didn't have but 2 or 3 folks with him. Isn't that right? That's the kind of patience you have to have. All rewards come from Allah. Don't look for no reward from the people, or everybody gonna be against you. And if you don't do like we say, we not gonna invite you. Who wants to be with a bunch of punks anyway? Well, Allah, we seek that refuge from anxiety and grief.